Hi, everybody. Welcome to Moyna Bass Fishers. This is Jim Moyna. A lot of people have been asking me, Jim, what are you going to fish next year? So this video is going to go into the thought process behind making those decisions. First of all, number one is you got to have a goal. Okay. What is my goal? My goal is to have fun. Is my goal, and it's different for people at different ages. Just want to have fun? Are you trying to make a career of it? Is it a hobby? What is it? What's tournament fishing all about for you? So, in my case, I'm 57 years old, and my goal is still to fish at the top level of the sport, and I have to be realistic about that. First of all, my age, 57, there is a drop off in performance at some point in anglers. I think it's a different age depending on the person. But certainly, I think once a person gets to be 65, I think everybody has reached that point once they're 65. I may not perform quite as well as I did when I was 35 right now, but I don't think it's that much of a difference. Mainly, just mentally, maybe I'm not quite as astute, quite as sharp as what I was then. And then also the drive. You still got to have the drive at the age, whatever age you are. You got to have the drive and the passion to do that. So I believe that I still have those things. So that is why I can still keep this goal in mind. I'm not I fished at the top level for many, many years, and just the way the whole FLW buyout just went down, and just in the lack of the lack of resume. I'm realistic. I'm real. I'm real. When MLF made their field for the Bass Pro Tour initially, they took all the Bass, as many Bassmaster Elite guys as they did, and then filled in the gaps with the best resumes they could find on the FLW Tour, such as Brian Thiff, Dudley, Ayler, and a few others. So, but then that left the Bassmasters roster wide open to fill. And they filled it, and I put in, I made it known to them that, hey, I want to be part of it. Well, lack of resume, maybe my age, maybe my lack of social media presence, whatever reason, didn't cut the grade. So there I was fishing the MLF Pro Circuit the last 3 years, which is kind of an underling, kind of I refer to it, it's been the purgatory of bass tournament fishing. You're almost to the top, but you're not quite there. So anyways, for this year, so those are the things that go in mind. Sorry. So basically, if I'm going to fish at the top level, what are my options? And that's what I want to do. I want to fish at the top level. That's my goal. I feel like I can still do it. I just gotta, I just have to further work on my game. I've got to just be disciplined, be vigorous, be engaged in the whole sport of bass fishing. It's an all-in deal. It's an all-in, mentally, physically, your time. You really have to go on, but you gotta. You do gotta leave some time for recovery, just get away, escape, and that sort of thing. But it is really an all-in, mentally, physically. So, with that being said, the options at the top level. Well, the options are at the top level would be the NPFL, the Bass Pro Tour, or the Bassmaster Elite. So, and realistically, the NPFL is not considered to be at the top level of the sport right now. At least in my mind, and I'm pretty sure in the minds of most fans. It's a organization on the upswing, on the uptick. They might get there. They might get that respect. They might get that level of achievement. But right now, at 57 years old, I don't have time for it to grow into that. I got to get to where I need to be right now. So that leaves the Bassmaster Elite, and that leaves the Bass Pro Tour. There was a lot of thought that went into this, to picking between the two. On the plus side of the Bass Pro Tour, I mean, I've been part of FLW for all these years. That's the mother organization that bought FLW. So that's where most of my history is. I did fish at the top level of Bassmaster before it became the Elites. It was called the Top 100s. I did that for a couple years. So I do have some experience there. But I mean, basically I've been an FLW guy. So that went into it. That's important to me. However, with the Bass, with the MLF, the other thing that I didn't like, or one of the things I didn't like, was just the way they got it. You know, they're calling, to get the Bass Pro Tour, you have to fish the MLF Invitationals now, in what used to be the pro circuit. So they kind of, they did lower entry fees by, I don't know, like $800-900 per tournament, but they like lowered the payouts even more, disproportionately to that. So we lost somewhat of a return on our investment in the process, it seems like to me. So that's kind of a negative. I think both organizations are trying to do what's best for the sport. I mean, they both want to be profitable, so they're going to do what's best for them, and you can't blame them for that. You have to recognize that, you know, people got to, people they got to make a living. They got to get by in life. And if you're losing millions of dollars on the pro circuit like MLF was, well, I can understand why they might need to make some changes there. Bassmaster's been around a long time. I think that's where most of the fans are still aligned with them. A lot of fans are aligned with both. They don't care. They just love bass fishing. They just love the coverage. But some line up more with Bassmaster probably than more with the MLF these days. So that's important. I'd probably get a stronger fan base. What else goes into this? And I'd have to fish the Bass Opens. And my arm's getting tired. I'd have to fish the Bass Opens to get to the Bassmaster Elites. Bass Opens had 9 tournaments that I'd have to fish, which I kind of like that. Cream rises through the top to the top over 9 tournaments instead of just 3. Whether I'm the cream or not is yet to be debated. That weighs on my mind. The last time I had a AOI finish in the FLW Tour was like probably over 10 years ago now. So that's, my performance concerns me. Absolutely. But the last 3 years, there was promise. I mean, in the AOI, it was 27, 25, and 25. And it's just to go from 25 up to 10 or up to 8, which it'll be now. That's just turning one of your bad days into a good day. And maybe another mediocre day into a good day. That's all that really is. So I think I can do it. So between, what else? The Bass Opens. As far as the schedules, And what lakes we go to, I could care less, really. Um, it doesn't matter what lakes we go to, what rivers we go to. Although it has to make some sense as far as travel, because I do look at that. But I don't look at it, which lake fits into my style, because I don't have a style. I really don't. I might look at a lake schedule and say, oh man, that lake, that one sucks. And then, oh, that one, I always do good at, Lake Y, Lake X sucks, Lake Y I do good at. And then by the end of the season, what has happened? Well, Lake X, where I thought I was going to suck, I make a really good finish. And then the other lake where I've had multiple cash finishes, decent performances, all of a sudden that one's the one that I, finished in the hundreds. So as far as what lakes, that's not important. But the travel between the lakes is, and the timing. I don't want a schedule that has me going to Florida, then to Texas, then to the James River. I mean, I don't want one that's zigzagging. It's got to have some kind of reasonable progression. So I'm not adding all these extra thousands of miles on my vehicles. So I kind of do look at that. The other thing I look at is how it fits into basically how it fits into other tournaments. Okay. There's some tournaments here in Minnesota that I have a lot of fun with. The Champions Tour, the Fort Francis Rainy Lake Tournament. But they're not part of, they're not going to help me reach my goal of fishing at the top level, those tournaments, but they're going to help me mentally. Just coming back to Minnesota to fish and compete, I like it. It's a lot of fun. Mentally, it's good for me, and it's a healthy mental exercise to do that. So that actually it is important, and actually it does play into life goals. So what else? What else can I say about this decision? Well, I guess what it came down to would have been, with all that considered, the financial risk is almost the same, because fishing the Bass Opens, you got 9 tournaments. That's 9 times you're traveling around. The entry fees are much less, but you're spending more on travel. The MLF Invitational is 6 tournaments, and so you're going to less places. But like I said earlier, I like to fish more tournaments because cream rises to the crop, if indeed I am the cream. But with 6 tournaments, that's 3 less places you got to travel, so you do cut some expenses there. However, the entry fees are higher, so in essence, the financial risk is almost the same. So that's kind of, it's not exactly, but it's close enough. So ultimately, what it came down to was I ended up choosing the MLF Invitationals. And that's because probably the number one reason is because I could still work in the Champions Tour into my schedule here in Minnesota. Because I have a lot of fun with that. That's and financially, it's a good decision, because the Champions Tour, they pay over 100% back. None of these other tournaments, qualifier tournaments I've mentioned, don't. Champions Tour does pay back 100%, and I can easily make just as much money there as I can on these other circuits without putting out near as much risk. So that is what I've done. Some other added things to say about the 2 choices. With the MLF Invitationals, we're probably going to have a lot of fresh blood in there, a lot of new blood, because a lot of guys are saying they're getting out of there. They're unhappy with the gutting of the pro circuit. So a lot of experienced anglers are moving on out of there. That'll bring in a lot of fresh fishes, a lot of new blood, some of which will be very talented, I'm sure, but some which might not be quite ready. They might need a couple years to be ready. Feel like I'm ready now. So I think competitively, I'm going to be better off on that route. And it's only 150 anglers. Okay, 150 anglers for eight spots to eight guys will qualify out of the MLF Invitationals to go to the Bass Pro Tour the following year. Compare that to the Bass Opens, where it's going to be like 200 boat fields. I don't know how many of those 200 each time are going to be guys that are fishing all 9, but it is going to be a stacked field. You actually have Bass Pro Tour guys actually leaving the Bass Pro Tour to fish the Opens to try to get into elites, which is kind of alarming. It's like, why are these guys doing that? It's kind of like, it's almost a red flag. Why are they doing that? Do I want to be going to the Bass Pro Tour because guys are leaving there? I don't know. I've had a few discussions with some of the Bass Pro Tour guys, and the guys I talk to aren't that. I mean, it's a good organization overall. I mean, no organization's perfect. So that Bass Open field is going to be stacked, and that's going to be tough. So then the other thought is, well, when you do get to the top level, if you do, what's better to be at, the Bass Pro Tour or the elites? The elites doesn't seem like they're ever going away. Bass Pro Tour, you just want, they're still trying to get a solid traction in the sport. They do got a good fan base. I believe they got the best field, the absolute toughest field of competition in the world, which makes me wonder, what the heck why do I want to get into that? I mean, the elites, you got stud anglers too in the elites, but I think top to bottom, the Bass Pro Tour is probably going to be the toughest field to fish against. So anyways, that's my decision. It's going to be the MLF Invitationals. It's going to be the Champions Tour. Oh, and then I am going to work in a Toyota Series division. Probably, again, the Southwest Division, which will be Sam Rayburn, Lake Dardanelle, and Sam Rayburn again. That's the division I did last year, here in 2022, which was Sam Rayburn, then Texoma, then Sam Rayburn. So I'm going to work in some kind of Toyota division, probably that one. So anyhow, that's all I got to say about this. That was my project today, pulling that dock in, you got to take all the planks, bring those all in, and then you got to wheel this thing in by hand. Not easy. So November, this is like November out here. Kind of cool, really cool. It's kind of a dreary, drizzly kind of a day. I wish I was out there fishing. It's just freaking awesome out there right now. I mean, it's cold, but not too cold. It's probably upper 40s maybe. Drizzly. About to freeze over. Probably freeze over. I don't know. There's a lot of cold weather coming in, so probably in a week it'll be iced over. Anyways, you're not here for that. You're over.